Hey everybody, I'm Alice McClellan.
And I'm Mason McClellan.
And we're the Backtrack Brothers. We go back and we watch older movies and we see how they hold up now and kind of give our opinions on them.
We're going to start talking about the visuals and the acting, and then we're going to dive deep into spoilers talking about the writing.
Yeah, we're going to kind of keep it in chronological order once we get into spoiler territory. But yeah, we will give you plenty of warning when that happens. Couple other little disclaimers we wanted to throw out there. We are not Star Wars experts by any means. Would you agree?
I would agree.
Yeah. I mean, my movie experience with Star Wars, I've watched, episodes 1 through 8. I've seen Rogue One and I've seen Solo. We saw Solo in theaters together with our dad. But I never watched the TV series. I had very little experience playing the video games. So I don't really know much about, I never read any of the books, so I don't really know much about the Star Wars universe outside of episodes 1 through 8 and those 2 spin-offs. Are you kind of in a similar boat?
I'm in the same way. You've never seen 9?
No, I had no interest after what happened in episode 8. It was a complete fire. I'm not a Star Wars expert, but holy shit, 8 sucked. So, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. Today we're here to talk about Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. And one little disclaimer I wanted to get out of the way too, we are watching the newer remastered version. We didn't find an old VHS, dust it off and watch that. We're kind of limited on our scope and ability of what we can watch. I don't know if you know this, Mason, but all the ones that you're gonna, the versions of Star Wars movies you see on Disney Plus are the ones,
you see remastered.
Exactly, you see all these freaking CGI aliens and all this other crap.
But they still don't look the greatest.
Right, but it's better. So they upgraded some things, but we're getting to that into the visual world. But I just wanted to let everyone know when we're bringing up certain things that maybe weren't in the original trilogy in terms of theatrical release, it's because we're watching what is basically only available to us now.
Yeah.
There you go. Typically, right in this spot, I like to give a little quick plot synopsis, but this is Star Wars, so probably like the biggest movie franchise ever. Yeah, it's one of them, if not the biggest. So I'm not gonna waste the time. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. If you want to stick around while we talk about the visuals and stuff to see if you want to watch it, totally support that. But do not go into the spoiler area without seeing this movie first.
Yeah.
Fair? Yeah, you don't want to ruin the whole series just for this YouTube video. It's not that important, I promise you. One thing I will point out though, is anytime I was looking at kind of like little plot synopses online, which is the plural of synopsises,
That's great.
Synopses. A little English lesson for you guys. All of them refer to it as an epic space drama. I'm sorry, epic space opera. Which threw me off because there's no opera singing. I know.
That really threw me off.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, it's not like a soap opera where it's like, I don't know. It just seemed weird. I've heard it described that way many times and it never made sense to me. No. Maybe one of our viewers can tell us why it's termed that way.
Or it's just a deleted scene of an opera.
Yeah, maybe the director's cut where they just sang all of their lines. This is a musical in an alternate reality. Yeah, maybe.
Right at the end of filming, they're like, maybe we shouldn't do this.
Actually, let's just reshoot all this straight. This is stupid. Why would we do this? So, Mason, do you want to maybe kind of give us your personal background on the movie? You actually requested that we do this movie because it was your birthday recently.
Yes.
So, happy birthday.
Thank you. I expect like hundreds of happy birthday in the comments.
Exactly. Don't disappoint us, viewers.
No, it was the worst birthday ever.
But yeah, tell us why you picked this movie out.
So, when I was younger, I would always all the kids around me talked about Star Wars, and it was like the best thing. People had on like their cups, their backpacks, whatever. It was huge.
Right.
So when I first eventually watched it, I was terrified. Mainly because of the one scene where the guy's arm cut off.
Oh, really? That was
the breaking point for me.
Interesting. And how old were you when that happened? When you watched it?
Probably 7.
Oh, okay. So this is fairly young. Yeah.
Yes, but that is really what did it. Just seeing the inside of somebody's arm. That's not a great thing for a 7-year-old to see. So naturally, that's scared me for a while. So until I was like 10, I just never watched it. Because I was always just really scared of it. And then right after I watched the 5th episode, went to the 6th, 1, 2, 3, all of them.
Gotcha.
And that's
when did you come back to them? Probably like how many, like a number of years later?
Probably when I was like 10.
Yeah, so waited a few years, got the stomach up, then went through, watched 4, 5, 6, and then you liked those, you kind of went back again.
And just think about like, you know, I didn't exactly remember what the arm looked like, but I knew I was really scared of stuff in Star Wars.
Yeah.
So, you know, when I was younger, I was like, I don't want to see anything else scarier or whatever.
Right. And yeah, I don't want to get too into the plot though, but I do definitely share it. I think a lot of the people that watch this as kids probably felt the same way as you. I know, you know, there was actually stuff that freaked me out prior to that moment, and we'll get into that later, but I totally understand why you felt that way. But so then you got hooked once you got back into your 10, and at that point the prequels were out, the newer ones were coming out. I
think Forsaken, like, not Forsaken, Jesus Christ.
It seems Forsaken.
Force Awakens.
Forsaken. I actually like that better.
The Force Awakens comes out.
Yeah.
I think around the same year. So yeah.
Do you have friends that are into like the TV shows or video games or anything like that? Like Knights of the Old Republic, that old video game, like the PC game was like humongous in its day. People still play it to this day, and it's like a decade old, if not older. Yeah. Do you know anybody like kind of like into the shows or anything like that?
I mean, not anyone that's like crazy like invested.
Yeah.
I mean, Lauren cares a decent amount, but she's not like really like into it.
Gotcha. Because I know some are. I know some Star Wars people are nuts.
Even in my school, there's definitely people that like devote, that would like sacrifice their firstborn just to like see a new Star Wars movie. Right.
And you don't talk to them.
No.
Fair. Nerds. We're kidding. Or there's I want to put this out here first. I'm going to make some nerd jokes throughout this just because this is a sci-fi movie. It's very nerdy, just this whole thing. But I will preface this by saying I'm a complete nerd. I still play Pokemon games. I love Dragon Ball Z as a kid. Like, we're all nerds here. So it's a safe space for all those types of things. There's no kink or nerd shaming in this world. That being said, I'm still going to make fun of you. Just know I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Fair?
Yes.
Fair. All right.
I just wanted to mention real quick. I used to play the Lego Star Wars video game.
Oh yeah, what are those?
When I was a kid, I played like the little like iPad version.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But it was like I probably put more hours into that than any game I play now. Like I got like 100% of that game. No. There's a new remastered one that came out.
Oh, I'm sure that's epic. Lego remastered? What do they make? Like the yellow shinier?
I heard it's like Dark Souls.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's just like Dark Souls. Dark Souls for 10-year-olds. My God. Yeah. We remember how well that went when you got Elden Ring, huh?
I think it beat this one.
You know what? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I think you can take down the Lego Star Wars game, even if they made it a bit soulsy. See? Super nerdy. Anyway, I told you. So yeah, my personal background. So one thing you want to bring up too. Well, I wanted to bring up from a history pretense. So our dad loved Star Wars. So naturally, that's why he showed it to you as 7 and scarred you. He showed it to me probably around the same age. I wasn't scarred, but I definitely was scared of like the sand people and the guys with the hoods. Like, it was kind of freaking me out. But yeah. So our dad was born in 1966. This movie came out in 1977. So my dad was 10, 11 years old when this came out, which you can imagine is, right down a kid's alley at that point in time. And at this time, this was all cutting edge stuff, right? So for him, this just blew his mind when he saw it in the theaters. This was the type of movie people went and saw multiple times. It became the top grossing film ever.
Yeah.
Beating Jaws, but then, E.T. came out 3 years later and said, bitch.
Explains why Disney bought Star Wars, man.
I mean, dude, yeah, 100%, dude. Disney acquiring, well, honestly, the Disneyfication of Star Wars is what ruined it for me. Like, even the prequels weren't great, but like, what happened with this most recent trilogy, and it's just also kid-centric now that I feel like I'm on the outside.
Yes.
And it's tough. It's why I can't imagine my dad watching any of these Disney Plus TV series.
Yeah.
Even though I know people like The Mandalorian and stuff, but it also seems like anytime they got one of these one show, anytime they come out with these shows, it's hot for a season and then it falls apart. And I just don't buy into shows like that. I let shows go for a season or 2 or 3, see if they hold up, and then I'll jump in late.
I think Mandalorian's the only one I've enjoyed. Yeah. Just going into this. Boba Fett, like Obi-Wan was...
I was wondering how Obi-Wan was, because I love Obi-Wan in this movie. But not great, yeah.
I think you'll find some stuff to tear apart.
Oh, I'm sure. Sure.
No, but Mandalorian I've enjoyed. So,
okay.
But that's like the most recent Star Wars product I've enjoyed.
And that's just because you want to bang Baby Yoda, and that's just your thing. That's not my thing.
I never said that.
You didn't need to. It was all inferred with your eyes.
You could just tell.
Oh, I could tell. As I walked into your room the one night, you were like, "Oh no, Baby Yoda!" I was like, "Oh, dude, put it away." Yeah, that happened. That's happened. It's happened. I'm sorry I had to put it out there. You can't disprove it. Moving on. Moving on.
You won't let me disprove it. Do I just say there's no?
I'm editing all this out. So.
See, this is what happens. We get one video to edit.
That's right. I control the world. Watch what I do to this.
He's cut it right after I know you did something with Baby Yoda.
Oh yeah.
And cut it.
You know what I was going to do? I'm going to cut something you say in the middle of this and cut it in right here.
I don't like them scruff and nailing.
I forgot. It's going to sound really perverted.
Okay. Curious to see what that would be.
The magic of editing.
Have fun.
I'm gonna have fun with this, man. This is fun. So, because our dad was into it, naturally he's gonna pull us into it. I think we're kind of a couple creative, fun guys. We like fantasy worlds, that type of thing, just natural creativity. So I think we kind of just naturally drifted towards this sort of thing. And, I was talking about trash in Star Wars earlier, but I almost will give anything a shot. I didn't give episode 9 a shot because I heard terrible things on top of I wasn't too optimistic about it. But Rogue One is awesome. I like Solo for what it is.
I love Rogue One, yeah.
Yeah, if they come out with other good spin-off movies, I will consider it. I'm just not a TV series guy as much. Yeah. And the episode part of it, I'm kind of out. I think they just ran out of stuff.
Yeah, when was the last time we got a movie? Was it?
Episode 9 was the last one.
Episode 9? That was 2019.
Yeah, and I can't imagine that they have any. I think they have other spin-offs, but they've all been coming out as shows. They're not coming out as movies anymore. So I don't know if that's as much Disney Plus trying to support their platform with something that people will watch, or if it's something that they're just saying these are actually better as TV shows than movies. I think it could be both or either. I
think Mandalorian's the only one that I'd say is a better TV show than movie. Yeah. I think the Boba Fett one is trash both ways.
Oh, is it?
It won't work either. Oh, no. And then Obi-Wan is debatable.
Oh, okay. And which stinks, And you know what? And I look at it this way: we watched Solo, and if they tried to stretch that out into a TV series, it would have sucked. 100%. You couldn't. That wasn't enough of a plot to stretch out over a series, but it was good as a contained story over an hour and 45 minutes, in my opinion. Yeah. All right, Mason, so now let's jump into visuals. So what do you think? Is there anything stuck out really good, stuck out really bad? What do you want to kick off with?
Yeah, so I'm going to start with the good, which is I think the planets and the landscapes look really impressive.
I agree.
I think even just the shots from the planets in space or just the shots of Tatooine and the landscape look really well done.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, even I forget the name of the planet at the end, but even the final planet they end up on in the final scene, even that's gorgeous. They do a good job. Even the desert, they make the desert actually look pretty interesting, which isn't the easiest thing in the world. No, I totally agree with you. I think you nailed that one on the head. Any other really good things that stuck out to you?
No.
That's it? That's what all that ends? Oh my gosh. Oh, that's fair. No, that's fair. I think so I'll toss out some positives. I think the aliens are practical. In general, are passable.
Overall, yes.
I'm not going to sit out here and say they're excellent, but watching them in 2022, they weren't. In the bar, they're actually pretty impressive. Yeah. There's some impressive animatronics and physical things going on.
The lighting's kind of
Yeah, right. It's smoky, they can kind of hide some stuff. Right, exactly. But that's part of good filmmaking. That's part of the whole idea. Where you're out in the barren sun and they put a freaking slimy CGI goat out there. Dude. We'll get into that later, but the non-CGI aliens actually I think are pretty good.
Yeah.
I think the actual like insides of the spaceships, I thought in terms of like settings were pretty cool. I thought they each were unique in terms of, you think about like the opening spaceship, like the one that Leia was on, it's like clinically white. Everything's white. It's like overpowering how white everything is, right? And then you get into the Empire ship, everything's black. It's dark. It's either black or gunmetal steel color. You know what I mean? Very like, it just sets the tone very well. There's just I just noticed there's a lot of variety in colors and settings and stuff that honestly a lot of people won't notice probably the first time viewing, like maybe outright, but it's something subconsciously that you enjoy and keeps you engaged.
And yeah, it definitely, you know, gave you like a mental sense of where you at and what like and just what that environment has for you, because you know the dark part's gonna be like the scariest, most war heavy, and the light part's gonna be like, you know,
it's supposed to be safer, represent light. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, and it's really impressive in terms of there's a lot of contrast. We're talking about you're in nature, then you're in space, then you're, you know, you're surrounded by all these aliens in a bar setting. Like there's just a lot of different worlds that they managed to build in here. And a lot of good characters. And speaking of characters, like there's a lot of good just one-off characters all over the place in this movie. Like guys, you're never gonna learn their acting names, or like but like Greedo, like the guy who tries to kill Han Solo.
People
like,
love Greedo.
Yeah, he's in the movie for less than a minute. But yeah, he's got a personality. He's got a motive. He has like an iconic scene. He gets I don't know. Like it just seems like there's a lot of, or even some of the guys around like the Round Table and the Empire. Like some of them just have very, like the guy who's shit talking Darth Vader and he gets choked. He's like, your lack of faith disturbs me, or whatever the hell he said. Oh man, dude, Star Wars, that's not the quo. It's one word. This is what I was saying earlier. Not nerd shaming. Not nerd shaming. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so I think other things that look good. I think space in general looks good / fine. You know, you were saying the planets specifically look good. The stars, you know, you can kind of tell there's a little bit of a green screen going there. There are some moments where it looks really bad, like when they're
like looking out of like the spaceships and stuff like that.
Looking out of the escape pod when the droids get out of the first ship and everything's spinning.
Yeah, but like the pod doesn't look like it's spinning, but the outside does, and it looks.
It's very obvious that the pod. To your point, it's not spinning. There's a background spinning. It's very obvious what's happening. So it's kind of funny when you think about some of the amazing effects that are in this movie, and then you also have those moments where it's kind of a big juxtaposition. So let's start. You want to bring up some of the things you think weren't so great?
So I'm gonna talk about like the lasers, like the guns and stuff. They're like super slow and weak, and
they're transparent.
Yes, they look like moving PNGs.
It looks like I'm gonna get shot with a rainbow. I'm not afraid of the red ray hitting me. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And to that point, lightsabers.
Yeah. Oh, we disagree on this one.
You think they look great?
I think they look great.
Did you notice the cut when Luke was training with like the little like orb thing? Yeah. He turns on his lightsaber and there's a cut to turn it on, and like the camera. Yeah. It looks awful.
So it's very noticeable, but I think. Alright, so I will say this. That definitely was something that I noticed. It was something that literally when it happened, my brain is like, the lightsaber's so powerful it caused an edit. And I move on with my life.
It was too bright.
It exploded with energy. So much the camera couldn't handle it. That's the way I look at it. But yeah, I agree. The cut's weird, but the lightsaber itself is cool. I think it looks great. And when they do their little Darth Vader outfit, not gonna go in there, but there's a lightsaber duel involved with something. This isn't what it looks like. It looks way better than this. It's not them spinning.
That's debatable. We'll get into that. That's debatable.
They're both old. All right. Anyway, that wasn't a spoiler. I'm just saying both people involved old. So. How about the swipe transitions though?
Oh my god.
How about the swipe transitions
iMovie like trailers.
Yeah, it was really bad.
I have better transitions. Alex is better transition editing video. The one now those are better than any Star Wars transition in that movie.
Yeah, true. And the thing is, it doesn't do it constantly throughout the movie, but it's very heavy early on, so it kind of like sets a tone.
And they're all very like slow.
Yeah, they're super, they crawl across the screen. Yeah, it's not like, whoa, we're there. Like, no, it's, you're turning the page of a book is very much what it's like, so yeah, that's just something that just is old. Super duper old.
Yeah.
I will also. It's not even just like the red lasers that come out of the stormtroopers' guns. Even the stun gun laser, like the blue thing that comes out of Leia.
And Leia's fall doesn't look like it's a little weak thing with no recoil. And Leia's just like
it's just out. I don't know how that thing works, but I want one. It seems like it'd be great because it seems like it knocks the person out but doesn't damage them in any way. It's the perfect weapon. In terms of, I guess, depending on what you want to do. If you want to kill somebody, it's not the perfect weapon. It's actually the worst weapon. It might be the worst weapon. It's not lethal. But you can, for detaining. Yeah.
Who do you need to detain?
My wife. No, so yeah, not only the blue laser. So we got red laser, looks like a rainbow. Blue circle laser, looks absolutely horrific. And then we have the neon green laser, which is like the big Death Star laser.
Yes.
And that looks just as bad, possibly worse. It's rough, man. Like I just remember as a kid thinking it looks really badass. And then I'm watching it now and it's it's just the bar so high now. Even Ghostbusters get better.
Yeah, and then even when you see like the Star Killer and like the new Star Wars movies, like that's like looks crazy.
Dude, I'll give him credit. That was well done.
Yeah.
But the problem is the whole time I'm watching episode 7, I'm just thinking, this is episode 4. This is literally episode 4. They just did everything in episode 7 that they did in episode 4. With sometimes they do it from a different perspective. But the one thing they did do perfect was getting the perspective of being on the planet with that laser beam coming down. Dude, talk about shit in a brick.
Especially after me seeing that like in theaters on like an IMAX screen.
It's hard.
And then seeing this.
Yeah, and literally like the planet pops like a balloon. It literally looks like there's just confetti and sparks that fly out of it. Might as well be at your birthday party.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. There's multiple explosions. I wanted to know, that was one thing that drove me crazy. The explosions in general, all the explosions look the same except for the Death Star. All the explosions, well, even that one was similar.
I thought the Death Star one looked like confetti.
They all do, but just a different scale. So like the TIE Fighter was the same explosion, just on a smaller scale. Like if you rewatch it over, I think they literally took 1 or 2 explosions and just copied them for each different explosion. It's bad, it's not good.
No.
Once again, especially when you watch modern action flicks and there's just so many really well done practical explosions when you see little toy models exploding with confetti. It's tough. It's tough. Especially when you don't have a connection to it. So I imagine it was probably tougher for you than someone like me. That at least I was like more attached.
And you grew up with it, yeah.
Right. Now you did grow up with it, but I don't know. I guess the standards were lower when I watched it in '95 than when you watched it in 2000.
And standards were lower when I was 7.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. We were just talking about the explosions. There's a kitty. Quiet down. Shh. Oh my God. Speaking of explosions.
Yes.
The meteor shower, we'll just call it that for now. The meteor shower, holy shit, does that look bad. That's the worst. I think that's the worst visual thing in this whole movie. It looks like a staticky screen that they're looking at through their windshield. And it's not. It's honestly inexcusable. Yeah. It's by far.
Even for 1977. This cat.
My fucking cat. Yeah, you. Yes, even for 1977.
It's me a clean cut. Clean edit.
So one thing I gotta bring up too, Jabba the Hutt. So the CGI Jabba is just an atrocity. Look, I understand the physical version of him wasn't great in the old movies. He still looked like an animatronic, but I'd rather him look like an animatronic than what he is in this movie.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? And outside of that, this is clearly an added scene. I don't know if you know this. This was an added scene, I think, just to have a little bit more extra Han Solo in the movie. Jabba doesn't, correct me if I'm wrong, Star Wars dorks, I don't think Jabba the Hutt was in the original one, in episode 4.
I didn't think so either.
No, he was only originally in episode 5. I remember the first time I watched this remastered version, I'm like, what the hell is this? So, so I think they added the scene to add more Han Solo to it, kind of show his chops and negotiating with Jabba and set up the Empire Strikes Back a little bit more. But I don't think it's necessary. And on top of that, it also takes away from the reveal of Han Solo's ship.
Yeah.
If you notice, there's the scene where Han Solo is talking with Jabba in the ship's right behind them. And then the next scene is, you know, Luke and Obi-Wan and them showing up, and it's like the grand reveal of the Millennium Falcon. Dude, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we just saw it.
We already saw it. You know, you can't do a grand reveal after we just saw it. That's not how things work.
In Jurassic Park, if like somebody was talking, there's just a T-Rex behind them,
right?
And then they just come up and they're like, "Whoa, there's dinosaurs here!"
Exactly.
Like, yeah, no shit. We know.
Yeah, it's very, very weird. It seemed very out of place, and that's an example where I don't think that any of the stuff that was added in this movie needed to be added, in my opinion. The CGI animals, the extra dialogue. Did you know that they changed this so that Greedo shoots? In the original episode 4, Greedo doesn't shoot, period. Han Solo, you see him pulling out his gun, he just shoots Greedo. End of scene.
Yeah.
But that was, Han Solo's a jerk for shooting. The guy was gonna kill him. We don't need to edit it to make it seem like it's self-defense. It is self-defense. He just told him he was gonna kill him. He doesn't need to shoot him as well.
Yeah.
It's just something that drove me nuts. It's why, no, it's this Disney-ification, man. This is all shit that happened once Disney got their hands on it. Sorry. Dude, Mickey Mouse is gonna call me up tonight and be like, burp, burp, burp.
Does Mickey Mouse sound like a dog? Like he's barking in the mud?
I actually can't sound like Mickey Mouse. It's like, Alex McClellan, why are you talking about me? Don't talk about Disney Corporation. Is that good?
Yeah.
It's better than the dog, right?
Better. Whatever that was.
Sorry. So visually, the turret scene, I'm not going to give away like where the plot is. I just said turret.
You did.
The turret, you did. The turret scene.
Yes.
Because I know how to pronounce that word. I think that even though visually this like the space angle of it probably isn't the most visually appealing thing in the world, it still gets my adrenaline pumping because it definitely made them sweeping back and forth in the chair. It just seems so physical. Like it just feels like I put myself in that moment.
Yeah.
I always want to be doing that. It just seems so badass. I don't know.
I can see like a cool Disney ride. Just doing that.
You think so? You think, I mean, if Disney had their hands on this movie from the start, there probably wouldn't be any lasers in it. Probably shooting teddy bears at each other. Pew, 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 pew. Soft, touchy, touchy, touchy.
Instead of lightsabers that pool noodles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just smack each other with soft lightsabers.
Just like I'm over aggressively hard.
It squeaks, it squeaks when you hit each other, and Obi-Wan disappears. Squeak! Oh shit, spoilers. Alright, Mason, do you have anything to talk about when it comes to the soundtrack or score of this movie? I know this is more my department, but I want to give you a spot to chime.
I have one little note. I feel like the little, the sounds for each planet kind of change. Tatooine is very mysterious, kind of like a Indian style, like with like the drums and just the vibe. And with some of the other, like the Death Star or just the planet that they were at the end, it's very grand or mysterious or evil or whatever. And I feel like it really fits the environment that they're at. I agree. And I mean, this is gonna be me. If you watch any of our Hold Up videos, I think we've been lucky enough to have a few John Williams movies included on there. Including Jurassic Park, which we did the long form video for. But John Williams, in my opinion, he's the master of his craft. He's the guy. He's the movie composer that there is. I'm just gonna run some of his movies and series off, and you can judge for yourself. Star Wars, Jurassic Park, Jaws, Harry Potter, E.T., Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Mason's favorite, Home Alone, and the Indiana Jones series. We're talking about some of the most iconic soundtracks out there for movies. Except for Home Alone.
Wrong. So, it is absolutely imperative for people to understand that part of the success of Star Wars is the audio component. This soundtrack is actually preserved. It was originally one of the first movie soundtracks to be preserved by the National Historical Society. The impact of this is sweeping. It is humongous. When you think about modern movie composing, especially like sci-fi action world, you think about Indiana Jones, Star Wars, all this stuff may sound corny now, but it's because over the last 40, 50 years, everyone's been ripping it off because it's awesome. That's how it works.
That's how everything works.
Yes, exactly. Well, you think about it, imitation is the best form of flattery. That's what a lot of movie composers do. They listen to somebody like John Williams, and they listen to him and how he's able to have a unique theme in every single planet, in every single spaceship, and they think, how the fuck does he do that? that because you watch a lot of movies and there's like 3 songs. There's the whole thing: happy, sad, angry. Like what?
Top Gun. Top Gun's not even a song. It's just pop. It's a Danger Zone and whatever the other song.
I thought you were gonna say Top Gun was its own music genre. There's angry sounds, there's sad sounds, and then there's Top Gun. But yeah, so that's funny. But yeah, so John, I cannot throw my love and adoration for John Williams out there enough. I know I'm not the only one. I know there's probably 1,000 YouTubers out there that are saying the same thing I am when it comes to this, but I cannot encourage you enough to please appreciate it. Next time you watch this movie, listen for the score. Don't just let it be around you. Yeah. Listen for it. Note the change. When that 2 sun scene happens, when Luke's out there, he gets that fight with his uncle, you can tell he just wants to get off this freaking Dust Bowl. Yeah. He goes up there and it's this beautiful sky. Going back to the visuals, I forgot to mention how beautiful that shot is. Those 2 suns up there, like setting, or one's going up, one's going down. What the fuck's happening there? And this score swells up. And Mark Hamill's got this look of just, just driven, focused, driven, clearly has his goals ready, and he wants to get the hell off that rock. Yeah. And everything swells up, you could feel it. And that's the marriage of visuals, acting, and audio coming together for the perfect moment. And the Star Wars movie has a few moments like that. I'm not gonna go over every single one. Yeah. That's one of them. And you only get that with a skilled composer.
That's probably my favorite.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful example. The end of the movie is another example with everything. It's very well done. I wish, I wish there was some dialogue to explain what the fuck's going on at the end of this movie.
No ceremony, it was no talking.
But the visuals and the audio and the conclusion, it feels like one of the best blockbuster endings ever. Have you ever walked away from a movie and been like, this is so happy, this is great, like, God, yeah, this is great, these guys are awesome. Like, it's, I don't know, it's just a very, I just can't stop loving on John Williams. He's the shit. I also want to point out the 20th Century Fox sound, and what was cool in this movie, they played like the original audio recording where it's like kind of older and grainier. It's like dun, 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 dun,
you sing it.
Copyright infringement. So
if you get copyright for that, I mean, that's a compliment. You sound just like it.
I think I'm pretty dead on, actually, to be honest with you. Very much like the Top Gun video where I got to sing as well. Check that out. But, dude, so you open up with that slaps, and then boom, opening Star Wars theme. I'm like, is there any more 2 audio tracks that you kick off to start a movie and I'm more in? Like, I'm in. I'm so hyped. Let's go. And thank God, because the first 35 minutes is slow as shit, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. I totally agree on that. About that too.
We're going to get to that. We're getting soon. We're almost getting to the spoiler section. Stick around. We're almost there. Sound effects. I know I kind of mentioned it earlier. I love the screaming of the TIE fighters, the shooting of the lasers, pew, 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 pew. Like, all this stuff that we think of as corny now. I just wanted to point out, a lot of stuff originated in this day and age with these 60s, 70s sci-fi movies. It's kind of funny, we're 50 years later, and I feel like we still use a lot of those same sound effects. For example, you remember when Luke and Leia are shooting up at they're on that open ledge, and the guy, he gets shot, he falls over. Yeah, there's this scream. Yeah, that is infinite. You can find, I've seen just movies all over the place. You just see little instances where they'll toss it in, and just randomly, and it's so funny. And you'll notice now.
Yeah, no, I definitely noticed it already.
Yeah, it's something I really encourage viewers, just whatever you're watching, look out for that sound. It pops up. All right, Mace, so let's jump into performances, mainly with our actors. What did you think of one Mr. Mark Hamill who plays Luke Skywalker?
I thought Mark Hamill did alright. I mean, he's like, whoa, I saw your face there. You did not agree with that. You're like, all right.
Proceed.
Okay.
Give your opinion.
So, I thought he was good, other than the fact that with some lines, he really sounded like a whiny bitch.
Yeah,
it was very, like, he just sounded like a 10-year-old was reading those lines. And I guess it was to kind of show, like, his immaturity. But at the same time, it was really annoying to have to listen to. So.
Yeah, I know. What do you think it's like talking to you? Oh, got him. Gotta love it. Brotherly charm, baby. So, I'm a big brother. I gotta give him shit every once in a while. So
it gave me like Judy vibes. It gave me like the Judy.
Oh, the Judy.
It gave me that.
Yeah, from Jumanji.
Yeah.
No, you can even see it in my notes. He starts out pretty whiny. He is. So I'll agree with you. But I think he gets infinitely better as the movie goes on. I think part of that is to show his character progression, right? It's supposed to show in the beginning of this movie when we first find him, which like, it's so anticlimactic when he comes in, he just like walks onto the screen. Like there's no, like compared to Darth Vader who like walks out of the smoke and like Obi-Wan even like groans at the sand people oddly sexually and gets them to run away. That was the thing. Did you notice that?
No.
Oh, it is weird. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one. But I thought it was weird that he just groaned at the sand people and they walked away. See what I mean? But yeah, so I think he's whiny and immature at first, but then obviously as it goes on, he has more responsibility thrust on himself. And you can tell he wants to be a hero, but he feels kind of conflicted. And Obi-Wan kind of says this at one point. He's like, that's your uncle talking. He kind of has like the push and pull, right? He has the pull to stay home from his uncle's side of raising him, and then he kind of has the push from his dad's side, which we're not going to talk about that spoiler just yet. It's so stupid. I can't believe we're acting like it's some fucking secret.
We have to though.
We have to, because who knows what person under a rock's watching this video. So he has this pull from his uncle, who is very, he's a farmer. They farm moisture from the air. Did you catch that? They farm, because they live in the desert. They farm moisture from the air and sell the water.
What?
Yeah.
I never know.
Yeah, it's a water farm.
Huh.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of neat.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone else knew that. There's some Star Wars dork. I knew that 10 years ago!
That's obvious. How do you not know that?
Don't you see the water drills? Water drills.
Drunk to the water.
Anyway, so, but no, he ends up going from very immature or whatever to being a mature, Jedi by the end of this movie. But
spoilers.
Fuck.
Luke becomes a Jedi?
Whoops. Slipped. Let one slip. Spoilers gone through now. Too late. Sorry. Just don't bother watching the movie. That's it. That's it. Turn off the video. But I will say, I definitely remember him being whiny, but I also thought he was more of like a quiet protagonist, like from my memory. But then watching it this time, he's actually pretty expressive.
Yeah.
Like he's yelling, he's animated, except for when he finds his aunt and uncle's skeletons.
Why is that the moment where he's like all quiet?
And why do we need skeletons? Did they burn them alive? What happened? Like, you know what I mean? There's no other skeleton in this movie. And every other person that dies in this movie is shot with a laser and they fall to the ground, basically uninjured. These two were burned alive. Holy shit. What did they do to deserve that? And Luke is like, that's disappointing.
Mind your convenience.
He doesn't do anything with the bodies. He just leaves them there. He's like, oh, those will, fall apart in time. It's fine. They're biodegradable.
They'll dissolve.
Yeah, they'll dissolve. They'll become one with the earth, and then we'll give me more water.
He's more excited. He's just like, oh, more water.
Yeah, but no, and I think like in terms of like his animatedness, like I think about the trash chute scene. Like he gets so animated.
Yeah.
More than I feel like most protagonists
Or
would.
even after. I'm not gonna spoil it.
Yeah.
At the end, when he's like celebrating with everybody, he's very animated and cheerful and
exactly. Versus like compared to Han Solo, who's very like stoic for most of the time. You know what I mean?
Yes.
All right, let's actually, let's just jump right into the guy I just mentioned, Han Solo.
I think he's fun.
Yeah.
I think
played by Harrison Ford.
Yes, Harrison Ford, Han Solo. He's a very egocentric dude. He definitely didn't like grow too much in this movie, more in the future movies.
Right,
Agreed. His character, but I still liked him as a side character.
I'm sorry, can I just say this? Like, I know if you haven't seen these movies, it's whatever, but like, there's a moment. Han Solo's best moment in this whole franchise, in my opinion. I just have to bring this up because I don't know how long it's going to be until we cover this next movie.
Yeah.
In The Empire Strikes Back, somebody says to Han Solo, "I love you," and his response is, "I know." And he doesn't know the next time he's going to see this person. He's just like, "Bye, I know." It's unbelievable, and it's even better when you know who the character is.
Yeah.
Proceed. Sorry, but yeah, I agree. He's insane.
I mean, basically, he just said everything. I mean, he's egocentric.
Yeah.
He's funny.
He's gorgeous.
Yeah, I prefer Baby Yoda more.
Yeah, of course you do. You like him soft and young. I like him scruff and manly and old. No judging. We're not judging here. There's no kink shaming here. We're just saying.
Anyway, I like Han Solo. I think he's a pretty good side character. Makes me laugh.
Good. Yeah, and that's what's good is he kind of brings both. He has the comic aspect of it, especially like his banter with Leia, and kind of like that wittiness going back and forth. Yeah. Very chauvinistic, by the way. You know, like there's one point where he's like, "Let's just avoid the females' advice," and I'm like, "Whoa." Granted, they almost died, so it's almost like one of those things where you could just package that better. But yeah, just very much just like the classic 60s, 70s scruff, manly man, and just a space cowboy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a mercenary. He's got Chewie. He's got Chewbacca by his side. He's got this big, he's pretty badass.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I had a Chewbacca, don't you?
Maybe. I don't like him scruff and manly.
I forgot. It's too scruff, too manly. Would you like a 7-foot Baby Yoda that just rolls around in a knapsack? Is that what you want? Or is that too big? You have a size issue. You want to physically impose your will on whatever we're talking about here, aren't you?
I mean, I'm already short.
Yeah.
So the requirements are really low.
Right, and you're not hairy, so you don't want to be with someone hairy because that's going to make you feel like less of a man.
Uh-huh.
You don't want what you're with to be more manly than you, right? That's fair.
That's why I chose Leia.
Alright, good. I'm glad you broke this topic. Have you ever had her cosplay as Baby Yoda? Halloween idea.
I can be a little seat that he goes around in.
Yeah. I have no idea what you're talking about because I don't watch the show. I've just seen the bumper stickers. I mean, come on. I haven't seen the memes, just the bumper stickers. All those stupid bumper stickers.
All you know Baby Yoda is from is the bumper stickers.
Yeah, that's it.
You have no clue.
That's it. Just middle-aged white moms with Baby Yoda stickers on the back of their vans. That's where I know it from. I just assume that you see that and your mouth waters. Alright, we gotta get away from this Baby Yoda joke. But yeah, alright, so let's move on. We actually just mentioned her. Let's talk about Princess Leia. Played by Carrie Fisher.
I think she did great.
Fantastic.
I thought she was like a good, she was energetic. She definitely brought life into the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And she was a good, side character or love interest for Luke.
Yeah, it's a side discussion.
It's a side discussion.
It's the love interest with Luke aspect of it. Not talking spoilers. So, but no, I completely echo your sentiment. I think she's the best acting performance in this movie.
Yeah.
Aside from James Earl Jones, we're going to deal with that later. So, Carrie Fisher, I never appreciated what she brought to this movie when I was a kid. She's sassy. She's really the person that drives the plot of this whole movie. Yeah. From the very opening scene, she's putting the message. She's doing something with R2-D2. I'm not spoiling. She's doing something with R2-D2. She's involved in the Empire, the entire middle pack, and then the backside, she's involved with the plot for the very end. She's in throughout the whole thing. She gives Han Solo as much shit, if not more, than he gives her. I love her. I think she would be a great, if I had a daughter, I'd say be like freaking Princess Leia, because she's badass. Like, she's royalty, but she doesn't act like it. She's proper, but she also can roll her sleeves up. I don't know, man. Like, just kind of stuff that gets my rocks hard,
And that's what you want of your daughter?
Yeah. Fuck. I didn't think that through. All right, Mason, let's talk about Old Man Ben, a.k.a. Obi-Wan Kenobi, a.k.a. those names are interchangeable. I have no idea how he thought he wouldn't get caught. Obi-Wan Kenobi, old Ben Kenobi. He was like, nobody will figure me out.
I think it's kind of quiet at some points. Like
Obi-Wan?
delivery, I feel like it wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, just compare like the ego or like very high energy of the movie, and like I just didn't feel like he really matched that.
Well, that's kind of the whole point, isn't it? He's the mentor. He's the guy who's supposed to be leading Luke towards becoming more mature, calm, one with the Force.
Yeah, but he can be a little bit more exciting.
He's an old man. He's old. He's supposed to be very. I mean, even if now we're gonna go into the other Star Wars, but even if you look at the prequels, even Ewan McGregor's, he's still a subdued. I think it's just that's his personality.
Yeah.
And maybe you know what? I wonder if this is something that. I don't think this is gonna make me kind of sound like an asshole, but I'm just gonna put it out there. I don't think I appreciated that personality type as much until I got older and really appreciated what that brings to the table, a quiet sense of confidence.
Yeah.
And not feeling the need to speak as much, or when you speak, you only speak in very quiet, chosen words.
Yeah.
I think you realize how valuable that is later in life, or if you have like a really good teacher or a really good coach that's like that. Like if you have a really good coach that is able to teach you without screaming, those are super impressive coaches, because that's where a lot of coaches fall back on, right? And honestly, if you can find one that can teach you, I mean, that's really what my notes are. Obi-Wan Kenobi, I also forgot to mention, he's played by Alec, Guiness. I personally think a strong performance. He's definitely, 100% a quiet, humble performance, but I think that's intentional. He's supposed to kind of be like a Buddha-esque figure. You know what I mean? You can even see there's multiple moments in this where he avoids conflict, whether it's with, these are not the droids you're looking for. Or, now don't get me wrong, he'll fucking hack a guy's arm off if he has to, but it's far I mean,
his last on his list.
And look what even happens with him and Darth. Not going to say anything else, but think about what he did in that situation. That should say a lot about what he is as a character, Not going to go any farther, but it's interesting. I think it's a totally fair point from your perspective. I'm interested to hear what you think 10 years from now. All right, now let's get to the most fun one to talk about, Darth Vader.
I feel like his voice is way lighter. I always thought his voice was like super like deep.
Yeah.
But he was way more like
which it is
loud.
Yeah.
And like more like I thought he was way like louder, more lighter. I don't know. I feel like he was as deep as like I remember him.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
So that's just a weird thing I picked up on. But overall, I mean, I feel like he would have succeeded more if he acted more. I know I just ripped into Obi-Wan Kenobi for being kind of like, this really quiet, really like, mysterious, whatever. But I feel like if Darth Vader kind of had that role instead, like of this like, mysterious, powerful being, I feel like he'd be more scary because of that. More intimidating.
So you're saying
because he's just kind of like a loud military leader in this movie.
Well, that's kind of, I would argue that's part of the genius of this movie, because that's what the setup is.
Yeah.
And then what happens in the next movie? Don't say it. But I would also say, for you to say that, you're kind of overlooking the part that it's very clearly shown throughout every single scene with the Empire. They treat him like an outsider. He's clearly an outsider, and they even say multiple times, "You're the last one of your religion." Like they clearly insinuate that he is not the same as them, and like you even see the thing that he's like, where the guy gives him shit, where he's like, "Your powers didn't help you find blah blah blah," and then the guy just gets choked out. Like you can see, but to your point. Are you kind of getting the fact that he reports to a military person takes away some of his power? Yeah. Because that bothered me too. Yeah. Because it's very clear Darth Vader can choke out any of these motherfuckers
I just feel like he doesn't feel powerful enough in this.
And I think
he doesn't seem very powerful.
And that's I think that's an interesting dynamic. I think it's hard watching. We can't get into that right now. We're still talking about characters. What I want to say about Darth Vader in terms of his performance. So first off, he was played by David Prowse, who was the guy who physically played Darth Vader. Yeah. And he actually originally was reading the lines too, but it turns out he has a very pleasant Midwestern voice. So
obviously it needs.
So George Lucas is like, let's get something a little different. So I got James Earl Jones to voice, which makes sense because the guy's in a helmet. It's not, you can see his lips move anyway, so you just get someone else to do the voice. James Earl Jones he's amazing. He's one of my favorite voice actors. He's incredible. He has one of the deepest voices of voice actors, so it's funny to hear you say it's not that deep, because I don't know who you're listening to that's deeper than that. Unless you're talking about like the Chocolate Rain Kid. I think that's about the only voice deeper that
they
I
get
know.
on him voice some.
Yeah, Chocolate Rain. I think Vader is fucking menacing. I think you see he's cunning, intelligent, ruthless, everything within the first 5 minutes. In that first scene, you see everything he can do. He's got a guy picked up with one hand off the ground, tosses him across the room. Like, he does some force stuff. He shoots guns. He does negotiations. He's figuring stuff out. Like, oh, an escape pod left, but there's no life forms on it. He's like, oh, well, she must have stored them on there. Chase that pod, go after it. Like, a lot of people would just be like, oh, well, faulty escape pod, whatever. Like, Darth Vader, he's well with the Force. He can feel this kind of shit. Like, that's the type of stuff that you can see, I think, really evidently with him early on, and then it carries throughout when he's choking the guy at the table. He's scary, man. When Obi-Wan turns around that corner and Darth's just sitting there with his red saber, I would have been shitting a brick. Like, I know I would have. Yeah. So I think he's good. Here we go, everybody. Spoilers. Boom! We're in spoiler territory. So, Mason.
Yes.
Now we're in the spoiler zone. Let's talk about some things that we were holding back on in the beginning.
That everyone already knows, but we were hiding for this segment.
Yes, because we care about professionalism and catering to our audience. We love you all. Except for you, Todd. Fuck you.
There's one person named Todd who hates us right now, but we hate you too.
No, he loves us. He loves us because we gave him a shout out.
All right, fuck Todd though.
Fuck Todd.
Right.
So, let's get into, we try and keep it chronological here, try and keep it going from the beginning of the movie to the end. We might jump around a little bit. In case you can't tell, we have a tendency to do that. But here we go. Mason, is there anything you wanted to particularly start out with early in this movie, or do you want me to kick things off?
You can kick things off.
Cool. So I'm starting very opening, text crawl opening. How do you feel about that? Because I know you've probably seen that in about like 15, 20 movies at this point because it's so overdone. But back then it was an original concept. What did you think of it?
I mean, I think it's a good way to fill like heavy, like lore heavy movies with like some like, background information. Yeah. And, in some of the more recent Star Wars, it's not very helpful. But I think
because you know all the shit already.
Yes, and because just this, but I think in the older movies where there's stuff happening in between the gaps, and stuff like that, it's necessary. Yeah. But like for the episode 8, for that one, it ended right where episode 8 left off. Right. Or 7 ended and then 8 began. Right. Like there's no time gap in the middle, so you couldn't really have the beginning credits for that. They did it anyway. Right. You didn't need it. Basically. No. Yeah. Yes. No. I feel like for this, it's more necessary. Yeah, and I agree. And I think what's really interesting is it's effective, and I think what's cool, this is the first time you're watching this movie, you're like, episode 4, what the fuck? What, are there 3 other movies? No, there's not. But that's what gives you the whole idea. Okay, knowing it's episode 4, going into it, there must have been something, even if there isn't a physical movie made of it, something happened. There are episodes 1 through 3 somewhere out in this universe, and we need to get caught up on what happened there. Yeah. And that's what's going on with this text trail. And what's great about that from like a marketing tool is, or just a hype tool, is like, you can go anywhere from here. You can go forward from episode 4, you can go backwards from episode 4, you can do all that type of stuff, which obviously they did, but at the time, I can't think of another movie that did something like that. It's very, very interesting, and maybe there were like a book series that did something like that. That would be creative. I don't read enough books or know enough about book history to know that, but I imagine that is just a really creative idea, starting in there. And now basically, if you ever do that, you're just ripping off Star Wars. It's not any idea anymore, but it's pretty cool. I thought it was interesting. I also, this is a stupid little thing, but I do really like the speed at which the text goes, and I like that it doesn't go completely off the screen. It just is like going farther away, so you can still read it, in case you need to like re-catch something, or like, wait, hold on, let me go back here and do, what I mean? Yeah. I don't know how much, if you have any notes for like the first kind of like
third of this movie, like first 30
slow.
First 30-35 minutes on a rewatch, you're skipping it. Like, you don't have to, but all that establishing shit, like cool. Yeah, it's cool seeing Darth Vader come out, and it's cool like seeing the droids for the first time or whatever. But like, I think that's the weakest part of the film. And if you already know who all the characters are and everything that's going to be coming down the line, you don't need that 35 minutes of setup.
And especially when it's just like, you know, C-3PO and R2-D2 like on like Tatooine.
Yeah.
Like I was just waiting for Luke to show up.
Yeah.
It was really boring.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's kind of nice they open up with the action, right? They open up, there's the big starship shooting at the little cruise that Leia's on, and then they infiltrate. So it's cool that they open with that. I like that part of it. But as a kid, there's a lot of dialogue going on there. That also is like, you need to have like read the text crawl to really even understand what's going on in the dialogue. So if you're a young kid, you probably didn't read the whole dialogue thing, and you probably didn't understand it even if you did.
Or you probably didn't pay attention to the text scroll.
Exactly. And then these people come up, have a bunch of jargon dialogue talking about blueprint plans and and you're not paying attention. You're just, ooh, shiny robot and lasers. And then all of a sudden, we're 20 minutes into this movie, and if you're a kid, you have no idea why anyone's doing anything.
Yeah.
It's not, I understand. But really, when you're a kid, it doesn't really matter. You just want to see people shooting lasers and doing shit, and like you can kind of piece it together later. But the story actually does make sense. It's actually pretty interesting. I wasn't able to find too many. On first glance, I didn't find too many plot holes. I swear to God, there's gonna be some. Well, how did you miss it? The 22-minute, 13 seconds. There's a ghost. Look, I get it. I probably missed something, but for the most part, I think this is a pretty good point A to point Z at the end. It's a pretty, tight plot, but that first 30-35 minutes of introducing everybody in the system is kind of like pretty boring.
Yes.
The little hooded guys, they reminded me of Minions.
A little bit, I can see that.
They talked like them, and they always move around in packs like them. Like they do like. And they're just like scavengers, and they're just like, it looks like they need a leader who can direct them and have them do dastardly deeds. So I don't know, they felt very Minion-esque to me.
Yeah.
I'm amazed they weren't turned into a whole bunch of different spin-off little toys and shit. They did kind of freak me out as a kid though, just like those glowing eyes. Oh yeah, and sometimes it's weird, like sometimes they have two, sometimes they have one, sometimes they like float around in the hood. I don't know if you noticed that, it's just kind of weird. I will say I love the Empire roundtable scene. It's a scene that I feel like as a kid I didn't appreciate other than the choking.
Yeah.
But up through that point of the film, it's like 30-35 minutes in, and like everyone's been talking about the Empire. We need to stop the Empire, and we like the Resistance, and But we've never seen the Empire really do anything. Other than we only see Darth Vader do the stuff early, but made Prince Leia.
But not really as like a team.
Right. Well, we don't know if Princess Leia actually is doing something wrong. Like you gotta remember, if you take this back to the first time you've watched this and you don't know who Leia is, you don't know that she's a good girl.
No.
She could be doing something evil.
Yeah.
You assume Darth Vader's evil because he breathes heavily and wears all black, which is kind of racist. But
you immediately just say, "Oh, his lightsaber's red."
You don't learn that until later. No, you know he's evil from the minute he steps out.
Because he's black.
It's because he breathes heavy and he's wearing black armor. It's not that difficult. Just saying. So, I'm not saying I'm just saying that's what's portrayed, right? I mean, we see it. Everything with the Empire is black because that's supposed to depict evil. White is light. Everything about the good people is white. All their spaceships are white. Like it literally, it's very clear.
We might need to question a few people with this.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't make this. George Lucas was the one who made this whole thing, or whoever set up the costumes and designs and all that shit. That's not my choice. I'm just an observer, observing things. I didn't make any rules.
Sweating.
I've been sweating. We have fucking 90-degree light shine in our heads. What the hell are you talking about? I've been sweating. But what I love about that roundtable scene is that it gives you that reason to hate them. You see, they're a bunch of douchebags who just want to take over the world, and they're talking about, oh, well, we have like what was essentially like the space UN is essentially what they had. They're like, oh, well, we have to deal with them. Like the Emperor can't do anything without them. And then like at the beginning, they're like, we're not dealing with it anymore. We disbanded them. UN's gone. We just let everybody control everything. We control everything through fear.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, they're evil as shit. Like they literally are just like, we're gonna control everything with fear, and that's the end of it. And so I just thought that was really interesting. And then you also get to see Darth Vader use his force powers for the first time, which is awesome.
Again, spoilers for the 5th movie.
You don't need to give spoilers.
For the 5th movie.
We're in spoiler territory. Fuck them. We're in spoiler territory. Fuck them.
So, we find out that Luke and Leia are siblings, right?
Right.
So, for me, watching this movie back, it's very weird.
Yeah, it's super weird.
Seeing them, like, doing, being romantic with each other. And I'm like, they're siblings! But they're sisters and brothers, and why they don't know, it's very weird to me, and very cringy when I just watch it.
Yeah. I know. I don't know. I think there's... How many scenes are there where he's really like that with her? I feel like there's really only one.
There was
and it's when he's talking to Han.
There was the grapple one where they kissed, and then there was the end where they were like all hugging.
They kissed in the grapple?
Yeah, the Leia kissed her. I'm about to get into all that.
She kissed him on the cheek.
Kissed him on the cheek.
I'm 30. I don't consider a kiss on the cheek a kiss. If you consider that, you say my aunt kisses me all the time. That's gross. That's not how you say. That's different.
I know, but it's the manner.
Yeah. Well, I honestly feel like the swamp scene with them in episode 5 is way more sexually tense than anything in this movie. So I agree. It's weird, like when he's talking with Han Solo and he very clearly is into Leia. Let me play devil's advocate. Let me play devil's advocate here. Luke has been on Tatooine in the middle of desert country with who knows who. When's the last time he's seen a chick?
I don't know.
Honestly.
But like, when was the last time?
He has no idea that she's a sister.
Yeah.
She's assertive, which he probably thinks is hot, obviously. And she's an attractive girl. I don't blame him at all. Yeah, and he's like 17. All he wants to do is fuck. So no, I don't blame him at all.
But like, I'm just saying, it's not Luke's fault. It's mainly the movie's fault for really pushing it.
I think
mainly in the 5th movie, but
well, and this is also something. Help us out, Star Wars fans. If you're still here, if you don't hate us too much by now, let us know. Did George Lucas know that he was planning to write them as brother and sister down the line, or is that something he didn't decide until after this movie was already released? But I feel like that's not right because they have that intimate moment in 5.
Yes.
And they figure out their siblings at the end of the 5th episode, I think. I could be totally getting this wrong. Please comment, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, it definitely is weird that he would choose to have that if he knew that was coming down the pipeline. Yes. I agree with you. Mm-hmm. So yeah, please let us know if you know. I don't want to Google.
I will mention too, the door closing on all of them, like when they're in like the garbage thing and C-3PO was trying to stop it. Yeah. That's like,
I love the garbage chute scene.
Brutal.
Love the garbage chute scene. Oh yeah,
like,
well, dude.
I imagine as a kid, I thought that was like crazy.
Oh yeah. So well, first off, there's the fucking monster in the water, which is terrifying. Then it starts closing on him, which is terrifying. So yeah, and then the droid's not answering. That's a very scary, intense scene. I always thought that was very scary. And also, that is going to be one of my odds and ends. We'll get back to that. I don't know if there's, or let's just talk about it now. Is there a worse way to die than getting squished with liquid garbage?
Probably not.
It's up there. Up there with like death by snoo. Oh man, you gotta watch Futurama.
Oh god.
My Star Wars Futurama nerds out there love that joke, thank you. You'll like it when you find out what it means.
I do want to mention the grapple scene real quick. Yeah. Where they were like,
Sorry, give me a second. I have a hair that's just been like, I don't know where it is. Sorry. So you were bringing up something about the grapple.
Yes.
So bring up the grapple scene.
There's this really conveniently placed thing in the middle of these two, legends.
Yeah.
And then there's the stormtroopers hanging at the top.
Right.
These stormtroopers are, and I know stormtroopers are notoriously very bad.
Yeah.
But holy shit.
Yeah. He's not even undercover. Lucas, you're Leia. Leia is like half covered. I'm Luke. They're right there. He's doing this. Pew pew. Pew pew pew. His whole body is still sticking out. I mean, his head's protected. His whole body should be getting lit off. Yeah.
And then there was like the weirdest kiss that you even the kiss on the cheek. It was very it was like a elementary school thing. It was like a quick thing. And very it seems like something that you regret and you sleep about. You go to sleep man, that was awful. It didn't look romantic, which might have been on purpose. Right. But it was very just. It wasn't good.
I don't know. I think about it when your aunt kisses you on the cheek. I think about that one.
It was oddly, next time you see the movie, it just seems like a scared girl trying to make a move.
She was scared. She was getting shot at. He just swung across an empty cavern. I would too. I'd be terrified. I'd kiss your cheek if you swung me across a cavern.
Yeah, but like...
Fucking French you. I don't give a shit. Yeah, so odds and ends for any of you guys that haven't watched this before, we kind of just rapid fire. Just go through some random shit that we noticed in the movie. It's really simple. Yes. It's usually just me finding really dumb stuff, and Mason says, okay, and then we move on. All right, so odds and ends, here we go. Right. Early in the movie, when we're talking about C-3PO and R2-D2 trying to escape, how funny was it when they just ran across open fire? You know, both sides are shooting at each other. They're on one side of the hallway. They didn't get to the other side of the hallway. They don't like, wait for a break in the action. They're not looking for something. They don't do a distraction. They don't throw a grenade or anything. They just walk slowly across the hallway.
No rush.
No rush. No rush at all. I just thought it was really silly.
Did they even get like hit? Did none of them get hit?
Of course not. Of course they don't get hit. Why would they get hit?
I mean, hit.
Nobody gets fucking hit. Stormtrooper shooting. Going back to the Stormtrooper line. Let's just go down here. It's a little bit farther down my list. Obi-Wan says specifically when they find the destroyed transporter, when they're trying to figure out like where the droids came from, he says only stormtroopers are this precise, talking about how they shot the transporter, which we've seen in every future instance of stormtroopers. They're not accurate at all. So it's just a little, that's a plot hole. That is one thing that either Obi-Wan doesn't know much about stormtroopers, or
maybe stormtroopers got worse.
It's possible because, all right, we're in spoiler territory. Fuck you. If you haven't seen Clone Wars, pause this, watch it, come back. Who would do that?
Watching it 1, 2, 3, and then we're gonna watch a video talking about 4 to debate if I should watch it.
Do that. In episode 2, we find out that the stormtroopers are clones of Boba Fett, which I'm wondering maybe by episode 4 they're so far into the genetic like incest line that they're starting to just their accuracy's off. Maybe they have like misshapen feet and it throws them off and they now like they're cockeyed and they can't aim straight. I don't know.
Maybe they'll have one eye and massive too.
It's possible. It's possible. Here comes the cat. So I totally forgot the whole fact that the only reason that they got the R2 unit they got, R2-D2, was because the first R2 unit that Luke and his uncle bought broke. Imagine if that one didn't break. Just that's the end.
The other one's gone.
Yep, Luke, you're a farmer. Have fun. Enjoy your water farming. Kind of hinted at this earlier. I have no idea why Obi-Wan Kenobi would think that changing his name to Old Ben would be a good disguise.
No. It's it's a scrambler. Like it's like not
even
decipher.
And he used the same last name. What are we doing?
He did use the same last name.
Yeah, yes, he used the same last name. He's instead of Obi-Wan Kenobi, he's Old Ben Kenobi. Like, dude.
How dumb can you get?
You clearly didn't work with the Witness Protection Agency, did you? Like, there's way better things you could have done.
And what's like, Luke must be embarrassed if he didn't realize. He's like, oh shit, Old Ben Kenobi.
Right.
It's the same as Obi-Wan Kenobi. No way.
No, I'll give him credit. He did piece it together himself originally. It's his uncle that's like, no, he doesn't exist. That's not right. Like, he's the one that shot it down. Luke actually did get it by himself to start out. I actually did think that was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But how many Old Bens does he know? You know what I mean? Like, it's a fair guess. Yeah, anyway, maybe that's why they made it so close, so that Luke could guess it.
Yeah, maybe.
That might be why. Still shitty reasoning. There's gotta be a better way to do it. So we gotta talk about when Luke is eating with his aunt and uncle, what are they drinking?
I didn't notice. You tell me.
It's some type of neon green sludge, or purple, I'm colorblind. It's some type of neon colored sludge.
Yes.
It's not water. It's not... It looks like it's a smoothie, but like super thick. Like when he pours it, it's like globs of it.
I mean, just think of what they have on Tatooine. It's probably some weird like animal piss or something. If I can think of it. If I can think of anything.
I don't know.
No rivers.
It's something I want to look up, and I think it's a fairly good question. Maybe someone can let us know in the comments. Sand people sounds like a derogatory term, right? I feel like there's a real scientific term for them, and they just call them sand people. And I feel like, I mean, come on.
It's kind of racist. It's kind of disrespectful.
I mean, there are some people in this world that call other people sand people in this world, and I think we know what people on each side I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That being said, they do suck.
Like the real life?
No. The same people from the movie.
Yes.
Like, right?
Just
Yeah.
to clarify.
Yes. So they're just very loud. They're annoying. They do annoying little jump scares. Like it's not. It's just a mess in general. I'm not a big fan of the same people.
I think they're interesting.
Interesting.
I think just what they do is like, you know, they go around and they just scavenge.
Yeah, like homeless people.
They're homeless people with guns.
Yeah.
Basically.
And sticks, and they travel in tribes and attack people. So that's
cool.
Interesting. It's really cool.
I just like how,
it's
you
cool
know,
shit.
different planets have their different people.
I should take you down into Philadelphia. I'll show you how cool it is down there. Show you all the cool guys that hang out down there.
All the cool sand people.
There's a lot of cool groups that hang out down there. You love to hang out with and see all the cool things they do. Really interesting. I brought this up earlier. Obi-Wan talking about these sand people. He scares them away with a moan. When Luke is passed out and they're going through the car, you hear a and then they scatter and then and then they pan over and it's Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And like. Why didn't he use the Force? Why didn't he do some badass shit?
Maybe he did, but to use the Force, he had the moan.
I just wonder if this was a Disney moment. I'm trying to remember. I wonder if he did something cool in the original Star Wars.
Like really violent?
Right, and it got taken away to make him not seem like a bad person.
That's why he just make a moan and everything went on.
Yeah, basically. I don't know, man. I'm just throwing it against the wall because whatever happened was like not entertaining to me.
Yeah.
It was weird. It didn't make sense. Like, why would a grown? And he says they startle easily. He says they'll startle easily. He says they'll startle easily, but they'll be back and with bigger numbers. So like what, they get startled when you gobble at them like a turkey, but like then they have no fear 10 minutes later coming back with spears? I don't know. The whole thing just seemed dumb. I don't know. We talked about only the stormtroopers are precise. We know that's not right. One of my favorite moments. This is a classic Obi-Wan moment. And this is like one of those things that I think is endearing about Obi-Wan, where he's just kind of like, he's just like a wise old man. Remember how Luke was like fidgeting with R2-D2 trying to get him to do the video message? Like he accidentally got it, but could never get the full thing. I don't know if you noticed. Obi-Wan walks over to R2-D2, smacks the shit out of him, and then the message plays. That is what, that's what old people, well, not old people, that's what people used to do with their TVs back in the day. You literally just smack the shit out of your TV and it would work. Yeah, it would happen. So now, you know, with like flat screens and shit, no one does that now. But it was just funny to me because it reminded me, oh yeah, that's what people used to do with technology. You're like, oh, this isn't working. No, motherfucker, work. And then it works. And it just happened. I don't know. I just thought it was a very
like an abusive relationship.
Yeah, it's very much so. But that's all right. We don't need to delve into that topic. One thing that always stood out to me as a kid, and I've only appreciated with every subsequent viewing, is the space chess that they play with the hologram monsters that Chewbacca and R2-D2 are playing. And I've always wanted to know, what is that game? Why have they not released that as a game? Yeah, how does it work? What are the rules? Like, it's freaking cool, man.
It seems like everyone knows how to play it too. Like even I think Han Solo or Obi-Wan comments like, that's a good move.
C-3PO does it too. Yeah, so yeah, it seems like it's a common game, like chess. Like it just seems like it's space chess, and I would like to play space chess. Is basically what I'm getting. And I don't know why that hasn't come out yet. They should have definitely come out with, even if they don't use actual hologram pieces, you should have little pieces and like, I don't know, maybe make them like Rock'em Sock'em Robots, so you can put them across from each other and they hit each other until one passes out. Because you see them fighting like in the hologram world. So
how do you like make like a move though?
Well, you just have like a little button or something. Come on, man, I'm not an engineer.
Obi-Wan, when he died, he just disappeared. He didn't like fall, like which by the way, all like the deaths and stuff were very like fake, like they're just like ragdolls.
Yeah.
Right?
Can we actually real quick when you bring that up?
Yes.
I mentioned earlier how Darth Vader picks up the pilot in the first scene and throws him.
Yeah.
Did you notice when he throws him against the tank, the guy actually lands on his feet and then like throws himself again? Like he's supposed to be dead while he's holding him in the air. Like he stops breathing. He throws him, hits the tank, lands on his feet instead of just crumbling. Like throws himself over. It's amazing. I just think it's so funny. Yes, but yeah, it was many times that happens in this movie.
I guess it's just for Obi-Wan, they were like, you know, we don't have a good track record with our dead people. So how about we just don't have one? And boom, he just disappears. I guess it's just how lightsabers work. They don't. They just make you disappear.
I think you missed something.
What?
Well, one, you know that's not true because Obi-Wan cut off a dude's arm earlier, and it traumatized you for 3 years from watching this, so you know that's not true.
I guess just take that out of my memory. Yes.
Yeah. You remember there's at one point that Darth Vader says Obi-Wan is here. Like, I'm gonna go find it, and like the leader says, yeah, go like get him, make sure he doesn't escape. Darth Vader says he's not planning to escape.
Yeah.
So think about that. It might be a line that people might have not caught, but yeah, I think that means something. Because, you know, who's more in tune with the Force than it's literally Obi-Wan and him. Like, those are the two. So he's figuring something out through that. As they're fighting, I forget what Darth Vader says that gets Obi-Wan to say this, but Obi-Wan says, if you strike me down, I'll turn into something more powerful than you could ever imagine. So I think that this whole thing of him disappearing, he does die.
Yes.
But it's definitely different. So, and I don't know the explanation behind this. Maybe one of our Star Wars friends can help us out in the comment section and let us know, was it a magic? Was it some type of Jedi magic or whatever you would term that as, that allowed him to leave his physical form and become the form that is guiding Luke through the Force?
But just think about the other...
Maybe he just became one with the Force.
Let me just bring something up real quick. The lightsaber, how did it not cut his cloak? Once again, I never claimed to know that. One other thing about your whole ghost theory.
Yeah.
How about the other ghosts? Yoda?
Those haven't happened yet. Those haven't happened yet.
I know, but they don't disappear though.
What do you mean?
Like when they die and they turn into the ghosts that follow Luke, they don't disappear.
So
Obi-Wan did.
Well, yeah. So I agree with you. I just said I don't know. You're asking me like I'm supposed to know. I don't know. I agree with you, but you're driving into questions of this goes into the whole thing that I don't know. I'm not going to spend the time to go into Star Wars lore to get into this because, to be very honest, most of the time there's not a clear answer anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. If there's any one thing that people do bitch about, it is the ghosts in the third movie. So I think a lot of people actually agree with you, to be honest with you, Mason. I think you brought up a good plot hole, but the problem with your plot hole is it's not just in this one movie. You know what I mean? If you just look in the vacuum of this one movie, it could make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm saying there is an explanation for it. I think you kind of tossed it out there like this made no sense. I'm like, well, they did imply that something weird was going to happen when he died. And something weird happened when he died. Yeah. So it's not that crazy.
Right after that, though, when they're boarding the ship, the first voice, run, Luke, run.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't planning on it.
No,
there's a whole army coming towards him. And he's just going to stand there and try and take all of them on. I know, but the ship door was closing. He's just gonna take all them on? No, it's not gonna work like that.
Well, he wasn't thinking straight. He clearly was emotional in the moment and wasn't thinking straight, or else he would have already been on the ship. That's the whole point, is that he's too caught up in the moment. Obi-Wan helped guide him into the ship because he's so caught up in his emotions, which comes up multiple times throughout the rest of this movie too. So you gotta think about how this stuff ties into each other. He died because he wants to help Luke. He can help Luke in a greater way being dead than alive. That's this whole idea. When he says I'm more powerful than you can possibly imagine, it's because he has left his physical being and now can act through the Force. And it caused things to happen and ripple in ways that he couldn't do when he was in his physical body. So yeah, there's a lot of things I think you're not supposed to understand. I think it goes back to one of the big themes of this movie is faith.
Yes.
As much as people think this is a sci-fi movie, this is also very much about religion. It's very religion-centric. I mean, you hear many people call the Jedi Order a faith system.
Yes.
You're the only one left of your religion. You're the only one left that has the faith. That type of thing. It's interesting.
Yes.
All right, Mason. So give us your hold-up-ability for Star Wars Episode 4.
So overall, I thought some of the visuals were weak, but I did like the overall story. The characters in it were very likable. I'm gonna give Star Wars a 7.5 out of 10. 6 out of 10, Star Wars. 6 out of 10.
I think you need to move in the other direction.
No, what? You just told me to move it down.
No.
You told me it was
no. You misinterpreted what I said. Yeah, and they're gonna be like, what the fuck is he talking about? A fucking 7.5? He was just talking about everything was great except for a few little visual problems. And he's coming out with a 7.5, it makes no sense. Hell are you talking about? You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Alright, sorry, it was something I've been thinking for a while, and then when you just said that, I'm like, what are you talking about?
So for anybody watching this video that has seen the Titanic video, or is planning on seeing it, just know that has moved to a 9. And that this has moved to
you can do whatever you want for this video, but I was
8.5. I'm gonna boost every single one up by 1. I think I was holding the expectations a little bit too high.
I think that's exactly what I'm getting
I think Titanic should be a 9, and I'm gonna bring this to an 8.5.
I think that's fair. So for me, a little bit different. So for my holdupability, and I'll say this, I'm less of a visual snob than you are. I'm definitely more forgiving when it comes to, you know, your transparent laser beams and your shitty CGI.
Yeah.
I will say this is the type of movie that the little visual cues, they happen infrequently enough that they almost add to the charm of the film for me. That's a personal preference. I know not everyone's gonna agree with that. I know you don't agree with it. Yeah. That's fine. But it's part of growing up the film too, and having the connection with my dad and friends and everything like that. If I really cared about the visuals, I would like the new ones more. But I don't. It's a great example where visuals aren't everything. I will happily say that Episode 7's final battle is so much more visually appealing than Episode 4 lightsaber fight.
Yeah.
From your perspective, I can understand how 2 old dudes busting their lightsabers against each other in Episode 4 looks really dumb compared to Episode 7. I get what you're saying. I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10 for holdupability. 9.5. And here's why. This is a timeless classic movie. I think the little visual miscues honestly adds to the charm of the film a little bit more personally. I know not everyone's gonna agree with that, but I think between the charm and the performances, which I couldn't find a weak one in the bunch, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I also have a few visual tweaks, and it being a little slow in the opening 30 minutes. I don't really have a complaint.
Yeah.
I think there's a reason that this is one of those all-time great movies, and that's why I lost my shit when you told me what your home score was. I was like, if this is even 8.5, like, man, it's gonna be interesting to see if we ever get you to like a 9.5, 10. I'm interested to see what movie gets you there, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to find one. Maybe that'll be my mission. Maybe I'll find one that you won't turn your nose up at. Because this movie that you picked for your birthday, you're gonna shit on. I don't know what to do.
So wait, if you gave this a 9.5 out of 10, what would you give Empire Strikes Back? The fifth
A 10. Because you take away the 5 points of being a little bit slow and some visual techniques.
Yeah.
I'll say Empire Strikes Back, it could even be like a 9.8, maybe if there's a couple little visual tweaks. But like I said, I'm not obsessed with the visual component of things. I'm more lenient with that. So, versus other people, I'm very much story and performance centric.
Yes.
Versus, I think you're a little bit more visual, directorial eyeline, you know what I mean?
Alright, don't ever make fun of my whole movie rating ever again.
Don't fuck up. Thanks for checking out this video.
Like and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about the movie in the comments below.
Let us know if there's any movies you want us to watch. Who knows, maybe we'll watch them together.